This week focus shifts from State House to the 12th Parliament as Kenyans hope that their representatives in the legislature will offer the much-needed redemption on the high cost of living as they deliberate on whether to adopt the recommendations by President Uhuru Kenyatta on taxing petroleum products or stick to their earlier decision of suspending the law for 2 years. But even as the opposition is expected to hold a parliamentary group meeting on Tuesday and take a common stand on the matter, it has come under harsh criticism for failing to arrest the situation before matters got out of hand.
There is no vibrant opposition completely. Kenyans are suffering because we don't have effective checks and balances against the government. When the government introduces an idea in parliament, ODM behaves like they are Jubilee A1 and Jubilee behaves like Jubilee is 1A.
It was at that particular moment when the budget came to the House, before the minister comes to read it, they could have said, you brought us a BPS and we see something here which will affect the lives of Kenyans. Can you go back and rectify this before you come to read the budget? They went quiet.
If we should ever get to a moment where the political fraternity in this country amalgamates, it comes together, and it says that we are now united in this government and we are working together in this government, that would be the beginning of disaster for this country. So let those who have gone, go. And we wish them well.
Given the Jubilee MPs and who form majority of members in Parliament have already been whipped to support the President's proposals to reduce VAT from 16% to 8% and reduce the budget of the Constituency Development Fund, Parliament, as well as Affirmative Action Fund, the opposition have an uphill task to raise at least 233 MPs to reject the President's proposals.
Parliament has been reduced to a shell. The executive has the power. All over the world, a system is controlled by resource. If you remove resources from the legislation, then virtually you've made it a shell.
What we are having today is players of Manchester playing for Chelsea. Simple as that. And scoring at their own goal. So we do not have, not even vibrant, but an opposition.
But did we have to get here? Pundits argue that since the March 9th handshake, the executive has managed to muzzle the opposition. Hardly does the opposition chief, Raila Odinga, criticize the Jubilee administration since the handshake, as his role in government still remains unclear. His deputy, Kalonzo Musyoka, also seems to have found some soft spot for the Jubilee regime and even accompanying the president on his official tour to China, leaving ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi and Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula as lone rangers.
Those of us who remain within the space of the opposition will continue to do the work of the opposition without feeling isolated, because we do not need someone to come and tell us to say this in order for us to put the government in check.
The opposition has collapsed because of the handshake, completely collapsed. We asked Kalonzo Musyoka, when we were in Machakos, to take over the role as the leader of the official opposition. He declined. We've asked Musalia. He's still considering.
First, it is wrong for anyone to refer to Raila Odinga as the NASA leader, because he is not. Raila Odinga was only the NASA presidential candidate, and Kalonzo Musyoka was his running mate. They are not NASA leaders.
Given that it is highly unlikely that the opposition will marshal 233 MPs to veto the president's decision, that will see budget cuts in various ministries, agencies and parastatals, where they will have to do with scaled down local and foreign travels. The president's stand seems it will carry the day.
then we need to do some stopgap measures, which will include reducing the number of members of parliament in parliament, which will include reducing the counties, which will include reducing constitutional offices, which will include in reducing our expenditure, which will bring down the wage bill.
In the meantime, Kenyans have no option but to brace themselves for difficult times ahead as the country navigates the spiraling external debts funding the Big Four and the counties.